Hey, Luke here with CatsandCarp.com, and today we're fishing for Wels Catfish at Home Farm Fisheries in the British Midlands. We're just a little bit northwest of Stoke-on-Trent, and I am here to catch Wels Catfish. Now, the Wels Catfish here get anywhere from little guys all the way up to 60, 70 plus pound fish. And I am hoping to bag at least one on this trip. And we've got a wonderful, beautiful place to do this. Now, I've rented one of these little cabins for 2 days here on the lake, and it's just gorgeous. Okay, everything you need right here. There's enough room here for 2 cots, and Nathan's here on his Kindle. Are you having fun?
Yeah.
So I've got electricity, and this way I don't have to pack a bivvy all the way to England. I just barely got here, so I got to rig up my rods, and I'm going to walk you through all the rigs and baits I'm using. I'm going to give you a tour of the fishery, but first I got to get some baits in the water. I'm keeping my rigs really simple for right now. Both rods are starting off with fish finder rigs, meaning I have a free running lead, a swivel, and then about 18 inches of leader, then my hook. One of them's going to have a circle hook on it, and the other one's going to have a hair rig on it. Well, the guy who runs this place tells me that Spam or lunch meat is a really good bait here, so I'm going to use lunch meat on a hair rig here. Look at this, it's got a key on it. I don't think I've ever opened a key. Did I do that right? Wait, here's a flap of some sort. We're going to use a pair of needle nose pliers here. I've never done that. Oh, lot of good stuff. All right, so I'm going to use these. They're called a bait shield, just a little piece of foam. And it's just designed to help your bait stop from flying off your hair during casting. Pierce the bait shield, pierce the Spam, and just transfer it all onto the hair. Little tiny piece of plastic called a bait stop on the end. And there we go. Nice piece of Spam dangling from the hair. If you've got little fish hitting your bait, they don't get hooked. And so, especially if you have like turtles, they can take your bait without getting hooked. You don't want to hook turtles. Well, there you go. That's my rig. It's not that different from what I would fish in the States. Spam is an excellent bait for channel catfish and blue catfish as well as Wels. And is basically a lead on a slider. You could do this whole rig with components you can find very cheaply and easily back in the US. All right, I'm going to cast my bait out, but there's 2 general ways to think about this. There's either go out and find the fish and look for them, or sit in one spot and wait for the catfish to come to you. When the sun's up and it's hot like this, the catfish aren't moving around, so you got to go out and look for them. So I'm going to plop my bait there, let it sit for 30 minutes or so. If I don't get anything, I'll plop it somewhere else. As the sun starts to set, the catfish are going to come in shallow and they're going to be a lot more active. So I'm going to chum up some areas around the margins, and then I'm going to plop my bait down on top of those spots, and I'm going to let it sit throughout the night. I'm not going to move it a bunch. So we're going to be mobile during the day, and we're going to be very stationary with a nice bit of chum during the sunset all the way to sunrise. The rod with the Spam I've got in the middle of this lagoon. It's still daytime, and so I'm banking on the fact that the catfish are a little bit deeper right now. But I'm going to go chum up the margins in between those 2 trees. If I don't get any bites by the time the sun starts to get low, then I'm dropping my rig in the margins on top of my chum. People here have been super nice, and they made this ground bait to help me out here. It's fish pellets, a little bit of corn, some fish meal, tuna fish, just a little bit of everything. And the idea is this will attract the catfish and attract bait fish to an area, which will bring in the catfish as well. It smells really fishy. All right, I got some of these halibut pellets that are soaked in this Glug Red Supreme. Catmaster Tackle makes them. I'm going to chum a few of those out on my spot as well. Whew, yeah, those are pungent. Yeah, these would catch channel catfish all right. All right, we're going to wing a couple of these out and see what happens. All right, so I'm getting ready to cast my Spam over to the margin, and this nice gentleman here, AJ, comes over and gives me a mind-blowing tip. He goes, just throw your rig onto the bank over there, then walk around, bait up your rig, and chuck it by hand into the margins. Then you know you don't lose your Spam, it doesn't come off during casting, and you get it in the right spot. Now we're going to see if I can hit the bank while casting.
Oh, how old are you? 6?
16.
Close enough. Here's my line. Let's see. All right, just chucked my lead on top of my chum. I'm gonna go back to my rods. Reel it tight. I can just really see the appeal of this type of fishing. I'm sitting here in just an absolutely gorgeous spot by a lake, fishing and camping, and it's just a relaxing, wonderful experience. Yeah. You see the guy over there, he's fishing using a bait boat. It's a remote controlled boat. It carries all your bait and rigs and everything, and so you can precisely drop it, especially at long distance. They're expensive though. A nice one will cost you $2,000. Yeah, look at these guys. Got a Wels Catfish on the mat. You haven't been at it long either, have you?
10 minutes.
10.
Got it, yeah? Yeah, go on, got that. Nice.
You see the line? See the line bounce like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a bite. You got him? Reel him, reel him, reel him. Reel it. Reel it hard. Yeah, there's a fish on there, buddy. You got him? You got that one? Yeah, you got one on there. You go get the net? Get the net. Oh. Oh. Oh, he popped off.
Yeah?
I'm sorry, Nate. Well, we're gonna get one. They're here.
Yeah.
Well, good morning. It's about 6:30 and there wasn't much action over the night. It rained a little bit, got a few blips on the alarm, but not much else happened. The guys across the way tore it up. Yeah, I think they landed at least 2 or 3 fish. Maybe I need to switch up my baits because there's fish here. They're just not liking what I'm offering. Well, it's 8:45 and I'm gonna pull up the gear and go back to the house to go do some sightseeing with the family. It's kind of nice on these trips. I can fish sunset to sunrise here in this cabin and camp with Nathan, and then do things with the rest of the family during the day. I went to the bait shop and I got some frozen rudd. Unfortunately, you're not allowed to catch your own bait here or use live bait. So, but this is the same type of fish that's the natural bait fish here in this pond. So we're gonna give this a try, see if it works.
How to do it.
There we go.
Right.
Half a rudd. Got a good vibe, man. Today's gonna be the day. And the weather's good. It's overcast, it's not too hot. These are all good things when you're catfishing. One of the nice things too is I got Tommy and Nathan with me today, so both boys get to come along. I went and bought an extra sleeping bag so we can fit them all in here. I've got my bottom bait sitting over here for a couple hours and not much has happened, so I'm gonna go ahead and switch it over to a worm rig and see if that doesn't help. Hit the tackle shop and got myself half a kilo of worms here, so we are doubling down. We're gonna hit the worms hard tonight. Also got some more spam and some other things. And tonight's gonna be the night. I got a good vibe. Look at this. I've got probably 12 dozen earthworms in here. This is full of worms. Picked up some more spam, but this luncheon meat specifically designed for catch and carp. And oh, look at that. I just got a bite. This is like strawberry red spam flavoring. So we're gonna give that a try. Definitely smells like strawberries. There you go. There we go, big fat pile of worms. Look at this. So what I've done is I've got a hair rig with a maggot clip on the end, and I've got a big ball on the maggot clip, and then I've put a whole bunch on the hook point itself. So that is a lot of worms. We are not holding back. About to land my first Wels Catfish. Yeah. We did it. I got a Wels Catfish in the net. It is not a big one, okay, but this is exciting. I've wanted to catch one of these for a long time. So let's pull him out of the net and take a look at him. He is spitting up worms. Look at that. That is a beautiful fish. That right there is my first Wels Catfish. Let's get him back in the water, so somebody else can have a good time. Well, there you go. I switched to worms about 2.5 feet beneath a dumbbell rig and worked like a charm. About 5 minutes after I cast it out, bam. And I'm watching the guy across from me getting lots of hits too. So it seems like we're finally clicking more like we should. Let me show you this dumbbell rig that I'm using because it's definitely uniquely European. This rig looks more complicated than it really is. All it is you got a free running lead on a slider. Then you've got this little dumbbell and the line goes through the middle of it. It's just 2 styrofoam balls with a hollow plastic pipe in between. And then you got a bit of this rubber here. And your main line goes through it. And then you've got a swivel which keeps your leader from going back through the dumbbell. And then you got your leader and a hook with a big pile of worms on it. What it does is the lead keeps it anchored in one place and the dumbbell keeps your leader from getting tangled up with your main line. The dumbbell gives a little bit of distance between your leader and your main line. Basically, this is just a fancy bobber with worms and you've added a slider to it. You can make bigger versions of this for live bait, cut bait, whatever, but I'm using a teeny tiny one because I'm just fishing worms. Well, last night I landed my first Wels Catfish and I had a couple bites, but that's been about it. So it's still been real quiet, but definitely an improvement over the night before. Learning a few things, learning a few tricks. We've got one more night of fishing before we're heading up to Scotland. So right now I'm gonna pack it up, go meet my wife to do some sightseeing, and we're gonna pick this up again this afternoon. And when I come back, I'm gonna give you a little bit of a tour of the fishery here so you can see a little bit more what the rest of the lake looks like. All right, we're back here at the cabin and we're gonna go ahead and get set up, and this is our last night to try to catch a big catfish, and this is the night we're gonna do it. We're gonna get it done tonight. So let me hurry up and get my gear ready. All right guys, let me show you Home Farm Fisheries a little bit. There's 2 lakes here. The first one is the match lake where they do match fishing. It's a smaller fish. Over here they got smaller carp, they've got rudd, things like that. And over here is the specimen lake. The lake I'm fishing. This has the catfish, the larger carp. I believe they have something in the upper 20s. They might have a low 30s or 2 in here. A lot of koi. And the guys that fish for carp here have been tearing it up, you know, 18, 20 fish a day. A lot of different pegs is what they call them. So you get these little dock areas, and that's your assigned dock area. And you can see there's a little dock area all around. And when you come here, you reserve a dock area. That's your spot. You can move around a little bit if it's not too crowded, but that's how they do it. And here on the specimen lake, they have these little cabins with electricity and stuff in them. So it's really great for overnight camping. It's a beautiful little lake. They even have a little tackle shop over there where you can buy odds and ends, baits, hooks, things like that. They also provide the landing nets and unhooking mats, so you don't have to worry about that. And man, it's just really great setup. If I lived here locally, I'd be bringing the boys here all the time. So this is the basic bottom rig I'm going to use today. I've got a hair rig with a large chunk of spam, a bait shield, then I've got a maggot clip on the end of the hair full of worms. These aren't lobworms, they're like deer drum worms or something like that. All right, the sun's setting on our final day here, and I've got both rods rigged up. I've got one with a huge chunk of spam right up against the shore where I've been chumming all 3 days. I've gotten a good bite there each night, so hopefully this is the time I'll land it. The other rod is on the little dumbbell set, and it's got some earthworms underneath it, and that's the rig that I landed that catfish on yesterday, so hopefully today I'll catch something a little bit bigger on it. Yeah, I got something. There we go, nice little Wels Catfish, feels about 8 pounds. Man, they're fun fish to catch. They fight nice and hard. Really fun to play these fish on those 12-foot rods. One thing that's interesting about these fish, they don't have a spine on their dorsal fin, don't really have much dorsal fin at all, and they don't have sharp pectoral fin. So unlike our North American cousins here, these ones won't spine you. Well, there we go, my second Wels Catfish, both about 8 pounds, both on that worm rig. I suspect, though, you know, I'm just guessing here, that earthworms is a good bait, but tends to attract more of the smaller fish, you know. That's been my experience in North America. You can catch a lot of catfish with earthworms, but they tend not to be trophy monster fish. Certainly given me some action, and man, I'm having a ball with these fish. So I'm gonna put that worm rig, rebait it up, stick it out there, and see if we can't catch some more. Well, good morning, guys. It's the end of our fishing trip here. We're headed to Scotland today, and we've got to get on the road and get an early start on it. If you want to see the rest of our 3-week adventure fishing here in the UK, put a link in the description. It's on our other channel, the Outdoor Boys YouTube channel. We just had a ball. This is an absolute beautiful fishery. If you want to come to Home Farm Fisheries in the Midlands of England, I'll put a link in the description. And honestly, guys, if I were to have it to do over again, I would fish 1 rod carp, 1 rod catfish, because this is also an amazing carp fishing lake. I've seen a lot of gorgeous kois and a lot of hot action here with the carp fishermen. Anyway, thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to
It's just right.
yeah.